Hello. Today is Thursday, October 6, 2022. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. The weather outside is about 54 degrees, going up to 77, but it feels like there may be a little bit of a chill in the air. Maybe anywhere from 5 degrees to 10 degrees cooler than the registered temperature as the day progresses along. Don't forget the mask again if you're going out and have to be around other people. Positive rate is still above 5% in this area. Use your mask. Works as a preventive in the spread of COVID-19 and its variants. Today in Hispanic History Month, yours is the next story. Linda Ronstadt, familiar with her and her music, did not know she had Hispanic heritage. Was the first woman to be inducted, Hispanic woman, qualifier, Hispanic woman, to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But on this day, October 6, 2020, she received the prestigious Legend Hispanic Heritage Award from the White House. White House established this award in 1998. The organization that's curating this information that I'm passing on to you related to Hispanic Heritage Month is the University of Arizona. And as it would be, Linda Ronstadt is from Arizona. So those two things go on. Today, it's like back to the quote-unquote real news. A university professor at Arizona, as it so happens, was shot and killed. The suspect has been apprehended. Moving around the world to the other side of the globe, Thailand. A mass shooting in Thailand left 38 dead. Most of them children's nursery victims. And it was perpetrated by a Thailand police officer who had been fired over a year ago for selling narcotics. So after shooting up the nursery exactly, while the children were sleeping, he went home and shot his wife and child and then killed himself. California, another tragedy. A Pakistani or Indian family was kidnapped from their business. A baby, parents, and an uncle. The search for them may continue, but now they have been discovered dead in an orchard, somewhat grouped together. The suspect, after a failed attempt to take his own life, is in the hospital and is answering questions from the police. DACA remains intact as appeals court sends case back to lower court in Texas. DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. I kind of remember this as being associated with the Obama administration. Excuse me. But actually, it came from the Department of Homeland Security. And the secretary at that time was the one that proposed and brought the bill forward. In 2020, the Supreme Court ruled on the Trump's administration trying to end it and said that they had done so improperly and restored it. Now, Texas and 8 other states have filed a separate lawsuit in 2018 which is in process of moving forward for decision. Excuse me. Ukraine, forcing the Russians to leave, not just to retreat, but as in terms used by some media outlets, to run. But details do verify. Earlier, I had shown you a map of Ukraine and the 4 districts that Russia had planned on annexing by vote. That vote was from September 23rd to the 27th. One of those districts also included the nuclear plant that's been in the news so much associated with Ukraine. So, Ukrainians have taken back 2 of the 4 last reports, and of those 2, one of those is where the nuclear plant is located. Russia, on its side, has been in the news for various reasons. I had mentioned, besides the protests that are going on there, I had mentioned the Wagner Group. So now this has been traced back to somebody who started that, and come to find out that they have been used in regards to the war in Ukraine by Russia. But because of the protests that's going on, everything from Russians shooting up the recruiting center to killing the person that comes to serve the conscripted notice for reporting to the war have died or been killed. So it continues to go on like that. Other little items, there was some reports about leaks in the Northern pipeline, which came through Ukraine and supplied the rest of Europe. And there was a second pipeline that was due to open around February, or just about the time that Russia jumped in and started the war with Ukraine. And it is full of gas. So the only people that were willing to do business with Russia after all the sanctions have been imposed was China. Turkey did it for a little while, then they backed up and declined to continue to do economic business with Russia. So Russia has no economic support from the rest of the world, and it's starting to pay its toll in protest and objections in the streets of Russia. So there is a video recently released of Russians surrendering to Ukrainian troops in what we refer to as a tank here in America or in the United States, waving the white flag, exiting, being searched for weapons and consequently taken in as prisoners of war. It's intense because of the manner in which it was done, the white flag and everything else. And Ukraine, for its part, hails the devastating British weapon that forced Ukrainian armies to run. So this is a multi-system rocket launcher, excuse me, that can strike accurately up to 80 kilometers away. And it has proved to be effective. Iran and the Ayatollah Khomeini Supreme. I think I first kind of got on to this part of it because I kind of caught a glimpse of a commentator or a interview person for one of the TV channels asking an Iranian woman, anyway, to remove her headscarf, and she objected to that, and that kind of cued my interest on it. But right now, presently, what's going on in Iran is unprecedented, because the Ayatollah Khomeini not only is viewed as a leader, but because of his clerical status in the Islamic religion. So what happened was the 22-year-old student at one of the universities, female, Masa, also known as Zina Amini, was arrested by the Iranian morality police for being improperly dressed. So video and things that I've seen since then, although I didn't have a clear understanding of it at the time, is women taking off the headscarf, cutting their hair, just changing their whole appearance. And this has just escalated, continued to roll ever since her death on September 22nd, 2022. So 21, excuse me. So now the streets are packed, thousands of students are protesting, and even in Brussels, protesters are holding up pictures of Masa Amini in front of the Iranian embassy and probably other places as well. But usually protests are non-existent or whatever because of the tight control that the Ayatollah Khomeini has in Iran. But reports are coming up that this generation is so very, very young that they're just not willing to stop now. They have this window of opportunity, even though there may not be some organized leadership and an organized way of going about it, et cetera, et cetera. But they are definitely not giving up. This idea of how to dress and what to dress and how to put it on and what the women should be wearing, and this idea of cutting their hair, actually cutting their hair and taking off the hijab, H-I-J-A-B, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, has just steamrolled. So all over the country, people are protesting in Iran. There have been some deaths, numbers vary anywhere from 30-something to 50-something, and thousands arrested, but it has not stopped them. So the police out there throwing tear gas and rubber bullets and things of this nature, paintball at the protesters has not stopped them. They're still at it, So, and they're especially motivated because with the talk on the table of Iran having access to nuclear power would just be a more powerful bad thing based on the attitude of the Ayatollah Khomeini, who blames the U.S. and Israel for what's going on in his country. There you have it. So that's some of the items. There was another rapper shot and killed multiple times in L.A., and that's like the third one this month. This rapper in his 30s is referred to as Half Ounce. You have to give me a minute to come back with the name because it starts with an L, but it's very unusual. So I have seen his proper name, but if you'll bear with me, I will get it straightened out as far as the pronunciation is concerned. But he was on the phone. It was about 11:30 at night, and he was shot multiple times. But the additional thing that's been allowed or put into the information is that these things are proving to be related to follow home invasions. So that's the new piece of information that's coming along with these shootings of rappers. One more for you. Kris Jenner spent $700 on cannabis products, recently reported. Amongst those cannabis products were edibles. So, if you will allow me, I think Chris might be floating for a while. Floating alone, $700 worth, including edibles. So there you have it, Thursday, October 6, 2022. Again, remind you, if you are watching on Facebook, what's up, Instagram, like, comment, share. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. This is the Side Show. I'm Theodore Parker. That's it. Hashtag.